Hello there. I'm Charlie Simons, your host here on Do Not Talk. Talk about the things you're not supposed to talk about, politics and religion. Talking to the people I'm not supposed to talk to. Talking about things I'm not supposed to talk about. Oh, well, I am so happy to be able to say now, after a lifetime career in radio and television, working for big networks, having to toe the line, FCC communication guidelines, so on and so forth, that I'm now in the alternative media. And I don't care about any of that anymore. I've already had Facebook delete all of my pages this past summer, and Instagram as well, which is owned by Facebook. That ridiculous, bloated, talk about a monopoly. Why is that even still allowed? I don't understand it. We need to break that up. That shouldn't be allowed. There's laws against that, but yet they're still going and snowing, basically. All the information that gets out there. The censorship that we were promised was going to go away is now bigger than ever. Hasn't gone away. Not at all. So there's alternative medias, which is Rumble. Thank God for Rumble. Rumble.com/do not talk. YouTube has already given me 2 strikes. One more, and they're yanking the entire channel like Facebook did. And how do I get to you? How do I let you know that I have a new show out? How do you watch what I'm doing? Well, you can do that 2 ways. One, go to the alternative media sites. If you're a fellow conservative, stop relying on YouTube. Stop relying on Facebook and Instagram, thinking that you're getting all your information there. You're not. You're just not. So go to Rumble. Go to their Substack. Substack is huge. I got to get on Substack. Just have to. There's Telegram. There's so many others that are out there that people are freely giving you the information that they glean from their research. And not all of us are the same. Thank God that we're not all the same. But I just appreciate you so much sharing these shows. That's another way that you can help get word out. Charlie's got a new show. Sam Anthony's on his show again. Sam's always a lot of fun to talk to. He's a media guy as well. So that's what we're going to cover is this man right here, Nick Shirley. Have you been following him? Do you know who he is? This is the one who just took his little old cell phone camera and a little microphone that he had plugged into it and started busting what was going on in Minnesota with all the fraud there with the Somalian daycare centers. Nick Shirley released a video, though, this month alleging to document more than $170 million in taxpayer fraud in California. This 40-minute video shows Shirley visiting what he says are daycare centers, hospices, and adult daycares. So he's sticking with that because it's rife with corruption. He confronts individuals allegedly working at these businesses and asks them to explain where the tax money is going. 6 million views so far just on X as of this publication. Democrat California governor. By the way, Daily Caller, stop calling Democrats Democratic. Please stop doing that. Everybody, stop doing that. Stop calling them that. Democratic is a form of government. Democrat are the ones who worship it. Democrat California Governor Gavin Newsom's press office later took aim at Shirley's video on X. Of course he did.
California may have the largest amount of fraud in the country, as California is the state with the highest taxes and collects more money than any other state in America. It is filled with fraud. California's version of Medicaid, called Medi-Cal, has more than doubled since 2022 from $108 billion to a proposed $222 billion in 2026. Their population, however, has not grown exponentially. However, their spending has. There has been a 1,000% increase in hospice care in the Los Angeles County. In fact, 1 out of every $10 of home health care in America is spent in Los Angeles. On top of that, their government-funded daycare programs are filled with violations. While they continue to give money to these fraudsters, it is estimated that the fraud in California could be in the hundreds of billions of dollars. In this video, we'll be going face to face with these fraudsters, confronting them as they defraud the American taxpayer out of millions and billions of dollars as they live their lives in luxury, driving around luxurious cars that cost more than $100,000 that you, actually paid for. Let's start first by going to these daycares filled with violations that still continue to receive money from the government. So this is the location of the daycare. It's in the middle of this shopping plaza. A lot of the buildings are closed down or boarded up and have been graffitied. And then you also have just a big dumpster right here with all this garbage, and then the daycare is right there. We're gonna go in right now.
We actually have a homeless person there too. Did you see that?
There's actually somebody sleeping here right now. Hello? You all right?
Yeah.
And so there is a homeless man who's sleeping right next to the daycare. He's sleeping right here, and the daycare is right there. This does not look like a place where you'd want to bring your child, and it does not look suitable and set to code to be a place where children are enrolled. So they do have some children here. How many do they usually say they have, or what's the story with the
The
children?
last few visits from the state have said that they have 39 enrolled.
And right now we're seeing about 5 children.
Yes.
They are enrolling right now. It says Medina Learning Center is now enrolling. So let's see if little Joey can lear a little bit here at Medina. Do you have the paperwork to enroll a little boy by the name of Joey? Yes, we'd like to enroll little Joey in the daycare.
They have as their backup facility the UMI Learning Center, and the UMI Learning Center was convicted in federal court in 2024 of having 150 ghost kids. So I want to find out what the affiliation is and why this facility is listed as the backup.
Yeah, can I get the paperwork to enroll a child?
Yes, I can.
Great.
What do you think about daycares being used for fraudulent businesses to receive money from the government to say they're enrolling 39 children, 89 children, and for millions of dollars be going towards these facilities? What do you think about that as you do work in a daycare?
No, it does happen. I've seen it like elsewhere. I've seen it being listening to the news. So it does happen. From time to time.
Thank you.
The card that they gave us, this is the licensee, the person who owns it.
And that's so far been the only thing they've been able to give us as to how to enroll a child. Mm-hmm. And then in the back corner of this parking lot appears to be the playground. Here's a bunch of garbage, and then right here appears to be the playground. Some strange things are happening outside this daycare. Whether or not it's fraudulent, there is a lot of suspicious activity taking place. This right here is Hayden Sarah Family Childcare. This is a daycare right here. Apparently they have 14 children enrolled. Tell us a little bit more about this daycare right here. We're in the middle of the hills here in San Diego.
So according to state records, when inspectors arrived here, there were 14 kids enrolled but 0 present. And then this place was also cited for having missing children's records and also not having a facility roster.
It's kind of weird that there's this daycare in the middle of a neighborhood. Hello?
I was naked, okay?
No, you weren't.
I can sue you. I was like, I wasn't dressed up. I'm Muslim.
Either way, can we enroll a child into the daycare?
You don't know what's going on.
Well, it says there's 14 children enrolled here on the state of California.
All right.
It says there's 14 children enrolled here.
You don't care.
I do care.
Naked.
Then where are the children?
You don't care.
Where are the children at?
It's not enough, Minnesota. You come here.
Where are the children at?
Not enough.
Where are the children at, ma'am? All right, so what she's doing is she's making a video right now. She's gonna send it out all to all the other daycares. But at the end of the day, enrolled for 14 children, no children here. And this is from the state of California. We're not targeting Somalian population. We're just going after daycares. And it just so happens to be that all the daycares, they are Somalian so far. Where are the children at, ma'am? 14 children. Would
This
you like to?
kid right here has just done amazing work, and thank God for him. That's where yournews.com comes in. Your News is a great platform that was created and is still owned and operated by Sam Anthony, that is giving every one of us a voice, an uncensored voice. And you're going to get news there. I mentioned a few others that you can find what's actually happening, what's really going on. You can find them all in one place at yournews.com. I think it's fantastic what he's doing. I'm glad to know him. And now, if you've never seen him on my show before, you're in for a treat. Are you ready? Hit it.
Yeah! Woo!
What's up, stud?
Charlie, is today the day we're doing the show?
You didn't get the memo, did you?
Good to
Does
see
anyone
you.
ever still do memos, by the way? I don't know if anyone still does. What does memo even stand for? Mimeograph. Does anybody
I have
remember?
no idea. You mean these things right here, these little stickies, the memo?
Yeah, the sticky notes. Yeah, that's it.
I still got them. Tell us how
Talking
old we
about alternative media and groups that are giving you information that you're not getting anywhere else. I love this on, again, turn it to Daily Call, or this is Fox News, actually.
Well, the Fox News.com and Sense Department sees that Nick Shirley is back on the fraud beat. Shirley is the independent journalist who caught many Minnesota daycare centers red-handed, where he showed us massive amounts of alleged fraud and very little leering.
There it is.
Now, Shirley is in California, and surprise, surprise, the Golden State appears to be a golden goose of fraud, waste, and abuse. The very same state where tens of billions of homeless money went unaccounted is now experiencing big-time alleged hospice, daycare, and who knows what else fraud. In other words, more sky-high taxpayer dollars down the drain. And like any good journalist, as Shirley was uncovering things that appear to be shady, he wanted to get a comment from Gavin Newsom, California's admittedly not very bright governor. But Shirley got the same thing that we got, zero answers and lots of snark and mock, including a silly smear of Shirley dressed as a creepy camera guy asking to see kids. Nick Shirley responded by reminding the governor's office that he's trying to save the state money, and instead was branded the bad guy. Then again, this governor is known for three tactics: deny, deflect, Trump. Common sense thinks for once the governor should try overseeing the use of state funding instead of overlooking the abuse of state funding.
Never in the history of our nation has independent journalists been more important. I just am putting all my eggs in that basket right now of alternative media, because you're not going to, thank God, Fox News, but as we well know, they have their place, but I think we're relying on them oftentimes too much, we conservatives. But guys like Trace Gallagher, he's one of the honest ones. I think Laura Ingraham is, Jesse Waters as well, and that's about where the list ends. I don't know.
So Charlie, remember the audience, the viewership has declined dramatically, and it's just because the average person watching cable news is in their 70s, and the younger generation is listening to Nick Shirley, they're listening to alternative news, they're on TikTok, they're on Instagram, they're on YouTube, they go to platforms. So money is dwindling because there's less audience share, and it's going to the places where the people are, which means that the reporting becomes worse and worse and worse. Okay, so even if they were telling the truth, they don't have the infrastructure to be able to do this. But this gives rise to independent journalists, because Nick Shirley, let's just say he was the same age 20 years ago, none of this would be happening because the technology wasn't in place to make that happen, right? And now with the platforms, he has the ability and a microphone to be able to go out and show this stuff. And this is where everything's headed. I've been saying it forever. It's going away from the mainstream media and the big conglomerates, and it's moving to your neighbor. It's moving to the people to report truth, the news, because you already know them and you trust them. That's where this is all happening. So, and going back to your state, I mean, your state is notorious for fraud,
Yes.
But it's so bad that people just have accepted it. Right? I mean, think about it. Nobody now, they've already said, well, it's fraud. Remember the train we gave billions of dollars to that we never even saw a track laid, and there is no train, and he just needs more money so he doesn't have to go do anything, right? That's really all it is. This is a criminal organization. You just happen to have the biggest state with the most money, so the most money is stolen out of there. But it's happening everywhere. People are freaking tired of it. And thank God for independent journalists like you, like Nick Shirley, that can uncover this stuff and show actually what is happening, right?
It only works though if people actually tune to it. And that's the difference between broadcast television or even cable and satellite and what we're doing here. Here, you have to search us out. You have to actually go looking for us. And people just want to turn it on, set it, and forget it. And oftentimes it becomes background, but it becomes part of your life. And you keep relying on the same platforms over and over again. You don't go searching for somebody like Nick Shirley. It's only because of we in the alternative media going, look at this kid, 20 something. Look what he's doing. This is amazing. I only wish I would have thought of it. I've done things similar to that, but wow, this guy's really going after it. And now here he is in my state of California. I don't know how that happened. I don't know if somebody said, we'll give you some money if you'll come here to California and doge this state, because the state isn't going to doge itself.
No,
and if it does, it's not going to be honest.
So these guys have figured out how to steal money legally, and they're not going to stop. It's just the way it is. And even when they're caught, you still have to shut it down, and they have no interest in shutting it down. And if they do shut it down, nobody's going to jail. You know, it's legal to steal $50 billion for a train because it was just mismanagement. And that's all. But I could do it better the next time. Let's do another 50 billion. And that's how it works. So this is just nothing more than ripping off the public. This is why I say the federal government should never be able to spend a nickel on anything, period, end of story. If the state of California wants to give all the money from the tax dollars to the illegals, well, then move. Okay, either vote those people out or move, and then they'll have no more money to give them. If the state of Illinois wants to give SNAP benefits to illegals, then leave. But it shouldn't be me, who doesn't even live there, that has to pay in to a system of corruption. So the federal government, by the way, if you did that, and I always call our Congress and our Senate, these are nothing more than bank robbers. That's all they are. But when there's no more money left in the bank, all the bank robbers will leave. You really think they want to write laws? No. This is a way to enrich themselves. I mean, Jasmine Crockett, do you really believe this woman is smart? Okay. I mean, do you really believe she's like she could start a business and turn it into an empire? Do you really believe that could happen? No, she's a con woman that figured out, holy crap, how much money do I get? How much? What do I have to say? I just got to bitch. Well, I'm a great bitch. Yes, I'll bitch. And people like my bitching because they agree, because they want money too. And then I'll get lots of money. I mean, that's literally what you're dealing with. I mean, you have a bartender in New York, okay, that is now setting policy. You have Mamdani that, wasn't even a U.S. citizen, not born or raised here. You have all these people that are immigrants that are now ruling your lives and making millions off of it. I mean, look at the amount of money some of these people are worth. I was on with Caleb Collier the other day. We were talking about, I think it was the woman I just talked about, out of Texas. And Crockett, he said, so I think she was in office for 4 years. Am I right? Something like that. And her net worth, when she went in, he had the numbers. He wrote a book. The number was, I'm going to make it up because I don't know, but it was low. It was like under 50 grand. It might have been like 6,000 or something. And she's worth 8 million. And so if you're making 174,000 a year, Charlie, give me the path on how you can save 8 million in 4 years on basically less than 700 grand. Okay. That's the point. I mean, it's nuts, but they figured out a way to do it, and it's not illegal. It's the same with the NGOs. It's not illegal if I say to you, Charlie, you set up a nonprofit. I'm going to vote to move $1 billion to you. You have to give that money to a cause, but you don't have to, because in the bylaws, it could say you change your mind and you could decide to donate that money to whoever you want. Here's, if you want to play in this game, you get a little piece, you donate it to the DNC, you in or out. And that's it. And so it's basically legal money laundering, because Charlie, you would have to rat on me, then I would say it's he said, she said, and you'd have to have some kind of video or audio version of this where somebody could actually hear the crime being committed. Otherwise, it's not a crime. So yeah, they figured it out. And this is why, Scott Bassett said out of the 2.3 trillion in taxes that come in, 1.5 trillion is stolen. I mean, come on. Why even bother paying taxes anymore? These people don't want to balance the budget. I mean, I could rant forever,
No.
but at the end of the day, they want the status quo to stay the same. That's all they want.
Of course.
Because I only make 175 grand a year, and literally my taxes on my property taxes are 2 million. So I can't pay that on 174 grand a year. So there you go. And this is the world we live in today. And by the way, it's been going on for years. It's now just coming to light.
Absolutely. And why is it taking so long? Because people are still, as going back to my original question, which we haven't answered, maybe there is no answer, but how do we get people to stop relying on all the mainstream media and start coming over and actually getting information about what's really going on? Like I said, they have to search us out. It's not easy to just turn it on and set it, forget it. You actually have to look us up. You have to follow our channels. You have to do things like that. And people are still not getting the information. And now the latest war on the left, on the West Coast here, is against anybody with money. In California, they're instigating a billionaire tax, an extra billionaire tax. Well, 6 billionaires have left the state. The mainstream media goes, well, only 6 have left so far, but 6 billionaires have left. And in Washington state, they're doing a 4% tax on anyone worth $1 million or more, or getting an income of $1 million a year or more.
I thought it was 9.9%.
They're leaving too.
Well, oh my God, it's a mass exodus, right?
In California, it is, yes, on the billionaires. You're right. It's 9.
So Washington was 9.9 per year. Like if you make $1 million a year, you got to basically give 100,000 to Washington. Well, I could just leave and go become a resident of Nevada, and I don't have to pay that, right? Because that's 9.9 in addition to what you were paying. So, it's nuts. They're just thinking, and all they're doing is running the money out. I wish I would have kept this video. I believe it was in California, and it was a woman talking, and she was explaining the tax revenue that was coming in. And she gave exact numbers. She goes, here's how much comes in. And I'm going to make it up because I don't remember. It's like $200 billion, right? And 70% of that money came from 200 people. 70% of the money came from 200 people. So when those 200 people leave, it basically wipes out their whole budget in California. And there's
these one percenters in California are paying over 40% of the total tax revenue that comes into California. For every idiot that goes, yeah, go after the rich people. Stupid. Who do you think is building the businesses? Who do you think's starting things and providing jobs for you? God, they're so stupid. And I even hear people on the right going, well, these people should pay their fair share. Fair share? What's a fair share? You want a real fair share? Go with a flat tax. That'll be fair for everybody because we're all going to be paying the same.
The consumption tax is the way to go because now everybody pays the same. If you make 10 grand a year, you can't spend $1 million. The guy making $1 million a year spends it. He just spends more than you, which means his tax goes in. So it's really the way it needs to be. Charlie, I'm already in process for, getting ready to move to Puerto Rico for 6 months a year. So then you know how much I got to pay? 4%. That's it. I had enough. I'm done. I mean, I don't believe they're going to solve the problem. I don't. And I don't believe any of these people are going to go to jail. And so by the end of the year, I'm going to be a Puerto Rican. I'm going to have to learn to speak the language. So, but you only have to pay 4%. So if you're paying, let's say, 100,000 a year, you're going to pay much less than that. That's all it is.
And, you don't think that President Trump is going to be able to do anything to stop all this, huh?
Well, they're working on it. He may. I mean, they're in the process of doing that right now. So they're in the process of finding all the fraud, waste, and abuse. The problem is when you're talking to the blue states and, we're talking, let's say, SNAP benefits, and, we're not going to do it unless we could check the rolls of who we're giving the money to and validate that they're actual. We're not going to get. Now they're fighting them for that. My words would be, great, nobody gets it. So you guys could pay it on your own. Well, now you have judges come in and say you still have to pay it. I mean, it's like they're working against themselves. It's like, what are you, stupid? I mean, if all the taxpayers are paying for people, they want to give it to the people that are U.S. citizens, not for everybody else. And it's nuts that we got to pay to the point where now I'm just getting to the point where I'm like, look, this is getting sick. So once you check out and you no longer give any money to the system, then you don't give a shit. And that's how I see it. So, you're like, hey, I'm done. You guys can keep paying. Oh, yeah, pay them. Yeah, give them hotels. Give them a night. Buy them a house, Charlie. Buy them a house. Is it no consequence?
If they can't get it through tax, they get it through. Somebody was commenting the other day about all the here in California, the CHP, California Highway Patrol. Suddenly they're everywhere. And I've seen people pulled over, even trucks, which trucks have been breaking laws here for a long time. Truck drivers, when you got somebody hauling doubles coming down highway or freeway 80 and they're doing 80. I'm like, how are they getting away with this? Why aren't they being stopped? This is insane. And it's so incredibly dangerous, but they haven't been enforcing traffic laws. Well, now suddenly that the state is so broke, I'm seeing CHP all over the place. I mean, that's just another tax. That's all it is.
Need the money.
Now, Mamdani, the mayor of New York, is installing cameras in school districts and making it a New York City law that you can only do 15 miles per hour in every school district. In New York, there'll be a school district and another school just a couple of blocks away from each other. 15 miles an hour. Oh, by the way, the enforcement is 24 hours a day. And the cameras are installed. It's just another tax. People are going to be, and the fines are incredible because you're speeding at a school zone. Well, you just ascertained that I have to do 15 miles an hour, 24 hours a day. So no school kids anywhere, no school is open, but I still have to drive 15 miles an hour through this section. And they're everywhere in New York. It's just another freaking tax. They'll find one way or another until the stupid people who keep putting these stupid people in positions of tremendous power finally wake up and go, dang, perhaps I've been an idiot all along putting these people in power. I need to make some other better choices. But I don't see that happening, Sam.
It's not going to happen. So remember,
we're getting dumber.
Stupid people don't get smarter, right? So they're not. What they're always going to do is point blame. So this is why I say if you don't have a federal feeding it and you say you're a state, you're your own business, you have people that live there, you need to get whatever taxes you need to get out of them. If you want to give SNAP benefits to people or do whatever you got to do, run it as a business based on the money you have. If you don't have enough, tax your people. If you still don't have enough, tax everything they have, even take their homes, do whatever you got to do. But eventually everybody's going to leave that have money. And they're going to go, thank you. And they're going to go live in another state and they're going to become prosperous. And that's all you need to do is just let it run to zero. And then it will end up fixing itself because they're not going to stop. Okay. Why would you? I rob banks for a living. You really think you're going to stop me? This is what I do. Okay. I'm just going to go to another bank. So their job is to take everything you got and leave you with nothing. That is their job. And the way they do it is they point fingers and say the rich people are the bad ones. You know, the people that are giving you your jobs. Oh, by the way, I know that we're taxing them more and that whole job is shut down and they moved the company to another state. Well, that guy's an asshole. Okay. But there's plenty of other. Yes, they're bad people.
That's the attitude.
They're bad people. Okay. But once they're all gone, then you go, oh, good job. Good job. Right. Then what they'll try and do is the government will try and employ everybody left. And they'll be begging for money. The whole system will implode. It has to. It's like running a company and you're bringing in $1 million and you're spending 50 million. At some point in time, the whole thing goes away. And same with your household. If you bring in $100,000 a year and you spend $200,000 a year, give me an idea how long you can do that. Well, as long as you have a federal government that's supplying you the money and printing more money, it's going to last a lot longer. But therein lies why we're $37 or $38 trillion in debt. And so if you could eliminate all the waste, fraud, and abuse and really just streamline government, you could get it to where they balance the budget and, have a surplus of money. But you have people that are against that. And somehow they've convinced the stupid people that it's the rich people that employ them that are the bad people. The people that took the risk and built the businesses and now you have a job, they're bad people. And they need to pay their fair share. It's not like it was handed to them. Okay. And so you can easily convince people of that. It's kind of like, convincing black people that they deserve reparations because of something that happened 150 years ago. And I got to pay for it, even though I had no part in it whatsoever. Okay. And they buy it because, well, sure, I agree. I should get money. It's not too hard to sell. Right.
Right.
And that's all it is. So do I think it's going to be fixed? I think at some point in time, the whole system will implode and it'll have to fix because it's over. And, I that's where I said, shut down the federal government goes, you guys could do whatever you want. We don't care. We're just people in Florida are not sending California money. So California could either sink or swim. Good luck to you.
What do you think is going to happen with this government shutdown, which is so funny how the first time it happened, everybody was talking about it. This time, nobody is. I just recently flew to North Carolina for a convention, a great event, fighting against child sex trafficking. It was just extraordinary. I got to meet Juan O'Savin, got to put him on my show. I'm glad I went, but TSA, the lines were extraordinary because they're very short staffed because nobody's getting paid. People aren't showing up to work or they're just quitting the TSA, which I have felt for a while is probably at this point kind of unnecessary.
You think? Yeah. So it's just more government jobs. Good. Let the airlines hire their own people.
But they're not showing up and they're not getting paid. And there's, of course, all the they can't stop ICE because that got funded by the big beautiful bill through 2029, something like that. They can't stop ICE, but they're able to stop so many other agencies. And that's what this is all about, to stop this deportation of illegals. The Democrats are doing this. And now we're talking about the SAVE Act and trying to get the SAVE Act passed. And there's nobody there. Can't even get a quorum. Democrats not showing up. This is insane. It's lawless. It's out of control. I don't know how President Trump is going to be able to fix all this with clowns and squishes like John Thune.
Executive order.
Senate Majority Leader. That's what I've been saying too. It's going to have to come down to finally, and this whole filibuster idea, the Democrats can hold up a vote on this for 2-3 months, doing this whole filibuster thing if they wanted to. We need this implemented now so it will be in effect fully before November's big midterm election coming up this year. That's got to happen. But this whole dragging feet and going back and forth and so on and so forth, and now the shutdown of the government that nobody's talking about, which is happening right now.
It's because of the war. Right now you have a war going on in Iran, and it's taking precedence because they're trying to make Trump look bad for that. At the end of the day, what's going to end up happening is, when you could go back in history and look, they're going to say this was the most brilliant strategic move that's ever happened. And the reason is because he's eliminating a rogue regime. More importantly, we had Patriot Mike on, and he was explaining, because I called him the other day. I'm like, so you want to explain this thing to me? How does this work? He says, all that money laundering is going through there. But more importantly, those people are funding all the terrorism. All the money that Hamas gets and all these terror organizations is coming through Iran. What do you do when that's gone? So this is just cutting off the money. And once you have no money, how are you going to do this stuff? You can't. On top of it, strategically, a huge portion of the oil that China got was from Iran and from Venezuela. All that's gone, right? So it changes the game. It's political, completely political.
I've been saying the same thing too. Yeah. This whole making these moves militarily in Venezuela and in Iran. I really think the total ultimate goal is to take China out at the knees. You can't go invading Taiwan. You can't be trying to take over the world with your communist manifesto if you don't have any fuel for your tanks and vehicles and planes. And that's where China gets the majority of their oil is from Venezuela and Iran.
They're still going to have oil. They just have to pay market rates for it. I mean, they can still buy oil. It'll still be shipped in. But more importantly, strategically, you're eliminating rogue regimes. I mean, now you have Cuba, on their knees going, hey, why don't we become another state?
Which at this point is still dark.
Yes, it's been dark for a long time.
On the island, no power.
And it will never come back again until they cut a deal with the U.S. What do you think?
By the way, you remember that lovely little girl with how dare you? She has released a statement that President Trump needs to be forced to supply oil to Cuba from Venezuela.
So is this the girl in Switzerland that was taking boats around to try and tell her that we shouldn't be the environment is going to change, whatever her name is? Now we have to supply oil, the stuff that's so
Greta Thunberg. Greta Thunberg is saying that President Trump should be forced to give oil from Venezuela, or let Cuba buy oil from Venezuela. And the irony with that for me is, this is the same woman who was saying there should be no combustible engines, there should be no big oil, it all needs to go away, everybody needs to be wind and solar power. Well, Greta, now's the time. Why don't you encourage that? Why don't you go in there and say, hey, Cuba, why don't you start doing solar and wind? That'll fix all your problems. They're so hypocritical. They're so pathetic, and nobody points it out. Nobody seems to notice it.
It's stupidity at an epic level, Charlie. And it gets so old. I tune them out just because I'm done listening to it. It just, all I feel every day in this business is anger, and it just gets old because nobody ever fixes anything ever. And so Trump's actually trying to fix it, and all he has is resistance.
Yeah.
And
from his own party.
Well, think about that. It's like you're playing a football game. You're the quarterback, and your line is really playing for the other team. It's like, they're letting everybody through. You're like, what the hell? And somehow you're still able to do things. So, yeah, I agree with Mike. I think that eventually Trump's just going to do an executive order. They're going to fight him on that. But honestly, I think when it comes to federal elections, that's going to be a tough one to beat because it's not their election. It's a federal. And so if it's a federal election, you have no say in this. And we don't want any machines. Have you seen all the stuff that's come out of Arizona and Fulton County and of like all the fraud? So here's what I want to know.
Arizona and Georgia alone, Dinesh D'Souza is vindicated with 2,000 mules. And guys like my own representative, Tom McClintock here in California, who said, well, there wasn't enough fraud to prove that it affected the election. I can't believe you just said that those words even came out of your mouth. How much fraud is too much then for you?
So first of all, there was enough fraud. They actually have proven that. And it would have absolutely.
All coming out now.
Oh, yeah. So here's the thing. When it all comes out, they have it all wrapped up in a package. And they say, okay, this would have been the result had this not have happened. Does that eliminate Joe Biden as becoming president and it was a fraudulent president? Would that happen?
No.
Okay, so maybe you're right, but
I would like to say yes. I would like to say that it will be corrected, but no, I don't believe it will.
How would you correct it? You could actually unravel, because he really wasn't president, which means you should have to unravel everything that's been done that hurt the country. I mean, to me, when you see somebody win an event and then they found out that they cheated, they take the prize away, right?
Mm-hmm.
It works the same way. So we obviously, once we get there where it's indisputable he didn't win, it should all be unraveled and taken away. And this is why if people don't go to jail for this, then basically I'm going to become a Democrat because I'm going to become the biggest crook on planet Earth. And I don't have to, look, I got a D. I'm a D. I'm good. One of you.
You'll get invited to all the great parties. You'll get to hang with those Hollywood pedophiles.
Oh, man, I'm going to buy Epstein Island. I'm going to invite everybody back. I mean,
I love yournews.com. I thank you so much for not only starting it, but sticking with it. And you've been at it for a few years now, and you're getting traction. It's about dang time. That should be everybody. Let me encourage you to make that your platform to go to for actual real news.
Yeah,
there you go. If you're going to get up and go, oh, let's see what's happening in the world right now, go to yournews.com. It's all right there.
Let me tell you what we did the other day. I went to an event from Sheila Matthews has something called ablechild.org. She's on with Bannon. If you ever want her on your show, you should bring her on because she's the person, the go-to person for all the psychedelic drugs that they're putting kids on Ritalin and all this stuff.
Yes.
And she's been fighting that. Now she's like the industry expert. She crafts legislation. She helps. So she lives right up the road from me. And she had an event the other day, and I met a gentleman there named Chris, not Hainsworth. It's Christopher Swainhart from. I'm trying to think of the name of it's Gun Stuff TV. So they produce nothing but gun stuff. It's all shit. So so now he's a contributor, daily contributor in my 2A section. Right. So I'm just the platform. At the end of the day, I'm a dumping ground for information. So if it's hockey, it goes in hockey. If it's golf, it goes in golf. Now I have 2A stuff, which I had before, but now I have even more. Right. I mean, my niche is I can do local stuff, but now he does video stuff. So he said, now I want to do written stuff. I want to actually do local stuff. So now it like expands because he's going, wow, I could do this like right down to a market with stuff, which he couldn't do before. It's just a national show, So
that's what's really cool too about your news, and Sam alluded to it. You can hyper local what you're searching for when it comes to information. You can literally put in your zip code and get stories from your area, even including high school football game scores and so on. This is the new local newspaper. It's like local paper meets USA Today, national paper, or Wall Street Journal, international even. So worth it. Please go to yournews.com and you'll find me there too. Just type in my name in the search and my videos will show up. But and oh, by the way, contributors, he monetizes. He shares advertising dollars with you, and that's rare. So thank you for doing that. But you're hoping to get more people actually on board with you, making the business thrive and grow at an even greater level. And there's ways that you can do that. If you got disposable income, you want to invest in something that I think is just going to be the total ultimate future of how we get our information. And honest, I know Sam well now, and I trust him, and he is who he says he is, and F words and all. He is the real deal. So you can actually invest. And how do we do that?
Well, it's easy to do, but let me start by saying we're not something that's a startup. I mean, we have over 5,700 content creators. I think the number is roughly 5,750 or something like that. And so all this local news we get, we bring in well over now 2,000 articles a week. We're bringing in, and we keep expanding and growing. And the void we fill is the collapse of legacy media. But it also allows for people like Nick Shirley to be able to come on the platform and to be able to report news. Because remember, 20 years ago, if you weren't, a part of NBC, ABC, CBS, or any local newspaper or radio station, I mean, you didn't have any place to have a voice, right? So it was centrally controlled, right? We had centralized news, and it was all rolled up by big conglomerates, by institutional money, and they were controlling the narrative. And which is, by the way, why we're in the mess we're in today, because you have just a handful of people controlling the messaging, which disseminates.
That was all Bill Clinton, deregulation.
I remember. And, and so
not an accident.
Of course not, because the guy they allowed to do it, they knew who they were and said, you're going to work with us. Otherwise, we're going to create huge problems for you. We're going to basically go back to regulating this again if you don't participate, if you don't play. So they allowed them to do this. The rules are, we're going to pump our political propaganda to you, and you're going to be our mouthpiece. It had to happen that way. Otherwise, why would they do it? There's no upside, right? It was more of an upside for them to have just a handful of people they know they can control to do it. So what the internet does is it decentralizes. You can't stop Nick Shirley. Right. And by the way, they tried to stop all these people with all the tech giants. And what did they do? They put in the FBI. They censored all your stuff. Look at all the people that got kicked off. And that's why Rumble exists, because they filled the void with the people being kicked off. So ultimately, you can't stop a decentralized platform. and like what we are is, I'm just a platform. At the end of the day, it looks like the daily newspaper, like the Miami Herald or Chicago Tribune in every city in the United States, but I can't possibly know the high school football results in any city, or the city council meeting, what happened. So that's up to the independent journalists, and they have to report news. And as I have said to you many times, Charlie, if you lie, you're not going to be around very long, right? Because people are just going to stop watching your show. So the people that follow you believe in you, and it's going to be the same thing on our platform. So if somebody lies, the public will let us know. They'll email saying, I was there, that's a lie, it never happened, right? So if we find out, we'll eliminate that. So far, it has never happened. I've had people complain and tell me they were going to sue me for information that was on there. And when I looked it up, it was all factual information. Like, so let me get this straight. You're upset because the news reporters in Pennsylvania are reporting on the fact that you beat your wife and you were arrested for it. Okay, am I clear? And was that not true? Because here's the actual news story from, and then you hear crickets. Okay, so it's crazy, but at the end of the day, trying
to intimidate you.
Oh, completely. I just told them go pound sand. At the end of the day, I'm like any other platform. I'm not liable. I'm just the platform where people are disseminating information. But if I find out something is untrue, we'll remove it. It just turns out that was spot on accurate. Even when I called the journalist was silent. He went, "It's all public information, Sam. Here, hold on. Let me send it to you." I'm like, okay. So, I mean, he was like, really? I mean, this is stuff that you could get, this was what came out, from the court case and everything that happened. So they were kind of surprised that he actually reached out, but that all went away. I had another one do it over here in West Palm Beach, and that all went away because it was factual information. I said, give me the part of the story that's not accurate so I could remove it. Crickets, because it was all factual. That being said, it's all moving to independent journalism. Nick Shirley is actual proof that this is where everything's headed, right? You can't count on any network TV station to be able to do this stuff. So, and think about how many people there are that have never went to journalism school, because Nick Shirley never did, right? Nick Shirley didn't graduate from broadcast journalism school or written journalism school or whatever else it is. He just decided, I think something's BS here, and I'm going to go find out. And then he reported on it, right?
Yeah, and I believe, if I remember right, it all came from him doing an interview with a former city councilman who said, "Oh, by the way, did you know?" That's how this whole thing started. So act locally, impact nationally. I've never seen a better example of that than Nick Shirley and what he's doing. May God bless him and protect him.
So I have hundreds of those things going on my platform, but they're not national news. There was the one I can remember is the one that Mark Fincham broke in the Tennessee one. Remember that, where the feds came in and raided the police station? I don't remember the gentleman's name, but they took the information because they uncovered a lot of corruption. I'm talking about the police station did. And then the feds came and took all the documents. That one was a big story that made national news, but that came from our platform. So if stuff needs national attention, we can do it. But a lot of the stuff is local. Most stuff is local. I mean, if you have a story about a city council meeting, a city councilman taking a bribe for $5 or $10 grand to pass something, well, that's not national news, right? That's just local to that particular market. But some of the stuff, like what Nick Shirley uncovered, is definitely national news. And that's where everything is headed. So to me, I mean, my business has always been capital raising, and that's all I've ever done. And then I started this business, and it was trying to figure the whole thing out. Now we're, pushing the 6,000 news reporters, Charlie. Let me say it again, because it sounds really impressive. 6,000 news reporters, right? 5,700 and change. And so eventually that's going to grow to 10,000 and 20,000 and 50,000 and 100,000. And for those of you who don't know, there's 20,000 cities. And many people that we have, like, that guy Chris does 2A News, right? That's all he does. But then I have another guy, Derek, that all he does is Formula One. And then I have people that do tennis news. And then I have people that do like boxing. And then I have people that do political stuff on a local level. So it's all across the board. I have people that do entertainment stuff, movie reviews, theater critics. So it's very broad in scope. And then we could drill down and publish to a city or a county or a market or state, regional or national. So, You could literally have 50 people a city, and times 20,000 cities, there's approximately 1 million news reporters, right?
Yeah.
But they're covering stuff that they're passionate about. So imagine if you were passionate about movies and you wanted to get on like Entertainment Today or something like that, or one of these things. Well, what are the odds on getting on? I'll tell you, 0. It's not going to happen. They only have so much room. And as the older generation, goes away, all the younger generation is on the internet consuming information on platforms. Our niche is local news. Do you know how many people are on Instagram? It's like a couple 100 million. You could look it up, but it's a massive amount of people. There's 61 million active channels on YouTube. TikTok has millions of people, like hundreds of millions of people on it. And the thing is it drives billions of people. YouTube had 2.7 billion people last month. It's where all the money's going. Okay. It's not going to traditional outlets like Fox, CNN, ABC. As a matter of fact, we both know this, 70% of the money they take in is from pharmaceutical ads. What's going to happen if that ever got pulled? The whole system would collapse. And so the reason I'm telling you this, Charlie, is they don't have more than 5 years. It'll be done. And it has nothing to do with lying. It's just the older generation are not going to be there, and you're going to have the younger generation that just don't care about Tucker Carlson or Laura Ingraham. Well, I'm sorry, Tucker's not on there anymore. Any of the network TV stations. No, so even if you have somebody credible, okay, like Laura Ingraham, she's eventually going to migrate to the internet. You have to, and then she's going to be part of billions of people that are broadcasting. So this is what will become the next mainstream media. A hyper-local news platform with a citizen journalist component where anybody can become a news reporter, but the marketplace is going to decide. And I'm telling you right now, I say it over and over again, it's going to be your neighbor that signs up to become a news reporter, and you already trust him or her, and they're going to go cover the local stories, and they're going to share that with you, and you're not going to distrust them because you actually know them. That's where it's all headed. There's 100% chance that's going to happen, and it's already in process. So rather than look for funding from institutional money, which I think would be a mistake. And by the way, companies like mine, which have mass scale, because remember, I could have just in the United States 1 million content creators. So you're talking about something that you're not going to be able to compete with. Would be funded by Silicon Valley, because all the tech giants were funded from Silicon Valley, but everybody knows that. And so what they come in is they bring in big dollars, they scale these things into massive entities. Then by the way, the people investing in them are all the institutional money or the extremely high net worth individuals that are buying stock in Facebook and eBay and Amazon for $1 or $2. And then they build them up and they package them up for Wall Street. And then you get in at $50, $30, $100, whatever it is. So we decided to do something called an equity crowdfund, which is really cool because this decentralizes the banking industry.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
it's great. Angel Studios comes to mind.
Yes. So normally for the audience, anything you could do that decentralizes what they're doing is a good thing. Well, you can't buy private placements. A company like mine is doing a private placement because I'm not public, but eventually the game plan is to take this public. But you have to be an accredited investor. It represents 1% of the population. So the equity crowd funds allow everybody to participate, but you could spend $200. You could spend $500. You could spend, so you're not getting a couple of influential people like BlackRock and Vanguard to put in all the money but control you. You're going to millions of people and saying, here's my idea. Let's decentralize news and let's become the next mainstream media, but be owned by the people. So you could take little bits of money from lots of people. The expression peanuts make elephants, right? So, would you rather have one guy that gives you all the money and you're beholden to him? Or would you rather have 1,000 people throwing $1,000? And that's how we're doing this. I think it's brilliant. And so, and by the way, to go public, we need 3,000 shareholders. We have an offering that I think may be closing. I think we're going to I have some investors that put in money, but now one guy in particular I think may buy the rest of it. and that may come in the next, and then we'll start another one, but it's going to be at a higher number, much higher number. So this offering is $2. The next one, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be somewhere between $4 and $6. And we'll be raising a little more money, and then the next one after that will be a public offering. So I need to get this to 50,000 news reporters.
Okay. Well, I'll do everything I can to help. I've already introduced me to my fellow broadcasters and podcasters to what you do. I've had them on the show with you, and now they're contributing as well. And I just love to see that. So you want to get involved, you want to know more, go to yournews.com. And if you want to invest, or you want to be like me, you want to be a contributor, you want to get monetized, you scroll down to the bottom of the page. Everything you need to know is right there at the bottom of the page at yournews.com. All right, Sam Anthony, anything else we may have left out you wanted to cover?
No, I mean, like you said, if you want to be a citizen journalist and you want to start reporting news locally in the community, just go to the bottom of the page, click Become a Citizen Journalist. There's a few videos you could watch that are really short. There's an application, you fill it out, and once you get approved, you'll get instructions on how to use it. The invest piece is down there, which takes you to an equity crowdfund page. The name of the company, which is our holding company, is called Nico Ventures. The definition of the word Nico means victory of the people. Just letting you know that. It's like News Corp owns Fox News and I don't know how many other companies, 50 other companies or something like that. Nico Ventures, there's a reason I did it. But Nico Ventures owns this, and then this is at some point, once we get it public, this is a roll-up model where I can make acquisitions for different verticals, but it'd be like boxing, horse racing, that kind of stuff. So that's the reason we did it. Yeah.
Well, don't move to California because they'll be trying to tax you.
I'm going to Puerto Rico, Charlie.
There you go. You're going to Puerto Rico.
I won't be taxed at all, right? So,
all right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. And my show is at charliesimons.com with merchandise, which if you purchase that, you'll be helping me. You'll be helping this show stay on the air and even grow and get bigger. But I need you to be involved. So if you can show your support by buying some products at my website, that'd be extraordinary. Let's talk about politics and religion. Come on, drink out of this at your workplace. And I got hats, I got shirts, I got mugs. I've explained this so many times, and a friend of mine just said, well, what have you got on your website to sell? What kind of product? Hats, shirts, and mugs. How many times have I got to say that? May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America, but most importantly, America bless God.